One day as I was browsing through YouTube, I saw this video pop up in my feed. It's a trailer for a game that I honestly had never heard of before, but the moment I saw what this game is all about, I was sold. Welcome to Desert Race Adventures, a game made by Portuguese indie dev Roguelike Games and published by Black Smoke Studios. It's been described as a roguelike that combines Oregon Trail with the Dakar Rally, and this interesting concept made me want to try out its demo, which is available on Steam. Now, Oregon Trail is probably a game that you have heard of before. You stock up your party with logistics, go on a long distance trip for days on end, and you'll eventually die of dysentery. So how does this relate to the Dakar? Well, to understand that, we need to take a look at what the Dakar actually is. For those who don't know, the Dakar Rally is perhaps the biggest and the toughest off-road rallying event in the world. It features extreme off-road conditions, thousands of kilometers of road to travel, countless driving hours, the baddest and most extreme off-road vehicles that money can buy, and the risk of death awaiting at any moment.
Ahead of the Mitsubishi of Fontenay. Bruno Sabi crashing out on the fifth stage. Not a great deal left of his bodywork. Thankfully the roll cage and himself started to go down. Schlesser, he was to crash out. Is by now famous buggies.
In its glory days, more than 500 teams turn up every year to take part in the great race that goes from Europe to Africa, usually starting in Paris and ending in Senegal's capital city of Dakar, hence the name Dakar Rally. That being said, the name also applies to whatever route that the organizers use, something that has been carried over to the South America and Saudi Arabia versions of the Dakar. In any case, Roguelike Games wants you, the player, to be in the hot seat of an independent team that competes in these big Dakar years. But they didn't want to just emulate the Paris-Dakar format. No, they went bigger, and set you on a course from Brussels in Belgium to Lomé in Togo, which is a distance of roughly 6,847 kilometers, if you go straight from point A to point B. At the major checkpoints that the game lists, and this race will cover a distance of more than 10,000 kilometers. For reference, the 2025 Dakar Rally in Saudi Arabia covers a total distance of 7,826 kilometers. So yeah, you can see how dangerous this rally is. But fortunately for us, in the demo, you will only need to drive from Brussels to Marrakesh, where the game automatically stops after a predetermined RNG event shortly after the Moroccan capital.
I am stupid. I am stupid.
You might be wondering, alright, cool with the history lesson, but how can you turn this into an Oregon Trail style roguelike? Well, it all starts from the driver selection screen. You will be given 3 randomly generated drivers and co-drivers to choose from. Each of them carries their own randomly generated pros and cons, ranging from the ability to pace yourself better to the ability to get lost as much as James May, Acheron, and Zoro. One funny part about this is that seemingly any country is fair game, and I do mean any country. No nation is left out, from countries with obvious racing pedigree such as Brazil, Argentina, or Netherlands, to complete oddballs like Eswatini, Djibouti, and Romania.
Now the time for the moment you've all been waiting for, because over in Romania,
This means that you can cook up the most batshit country combinations possible, like this one, where I combine Afghanistan and Iran together. Hell, even non-countries can be generated, as I managed to get someone from Isle of Man, Guernsey,
KSI is a fat meat.
and wherever this place is, and this place. Seriously, what place has that flag rendered to be a blob of splattered ink in pixel art? Anyways, the game then brings you to the layout screen, where you need to select 3 out of the 6 possible options that you need to carry at the back of your car. The options vary, but it's all obvious rally equipment such as extra fuel, extra food, spare parts, and even a medical kit that gives your driver a second chance. Now comes the gameplay, and this is where the Origin Trail inspiration really comes to play. Like with Origin Trail, you don't need to worry about the travel, or in this case, the driving. The game does it for you. So your main worry is micromanaging all of the resources that you had, including your driver and co-driver's own health. To start off, there's 3 speed selections that you can choose: slow, normal, and fast. The faster you go, the more distance you'll travel. But doing so also increases the amount of food and fuel that you'll consume in any given day. Going faster also increases your team's fatigue level. Naturally, the more you drive, the more tired you'll become. And the quicker you go, the more energy you spend as well. Reach maximum fatigue, and your driver or co-driver starts to sleep behind the wheel, gradually losing health as each day passes. Obviously, your health also gets depleted if you run out of food. Combine sleepiness and zero food supply, and you get a recipe for inevitable deaths.
Here's a picture of your corpse. Not pretty.
Interestingly, unlike an actual rally where you must withdraw if one of your pilots kicked the bucket, your team will remain functional so long as one of your pilots is still alive. If both died, then, well, it's an automatic game over. To prevent an early visit to the Grim Reaper, you can rest at any time to reduce some of the fatigue. If you still have a food supply, then you'll also replenish some of your health. You'll gain more from resting if you do so at key checkpoints. More on that later. As you slowly compete in this dangerous rally, your machine will also have its condition slowly deteriorate. There's no GT Auto Guide that can help you to drink out your mechanical sorrows. So you have to do it on your own, and to do that, you need to consume parts. You need to regularly maintain your vehicle to keep it in top form, which you can do either at key checkpoints or on the road with the repair button. There's 3 car elements that you can fix: the engine, the wheel, or the steering box. Okay, I don't know why it's called the steering box. I think it's more appropriate to call it a steering column or steering wheel, but I digress. In any case, do not let these parts go to zero. Your race will end the moment any part reaches zero durability.
It's broken! Anti-stall is off. Back!
Naturally, the more damaged these parts are, the more it will impact your performance. Reach the red health stage, then you'll get a second debuff that will greatly impact your performance. So long as you still have the parts, you can repair any of them however you want. But be careful. These parts are also used in case you get bad RNG events like a puncture or an engine malfunction. Run out of those at an inopportune moment, and your machine will get more broken, increasing your chances of a DNF. On to the key checkpoints, and as the name implies, this is the place where you get a big respite. There will be the choice to either rest, repair, replenish your loadout, or just resume the race if you're mad enough. But of course, this is a roguelike, so there are some twists. For one, you cannot choose all 3. You have to select one of them, and once you pick whatever choice you selected, that's it. You have to continue your race from there on out. Secondly, you cannot automatically refill your fuel or food. You have to carry a spare in order to refill either meter, and if you run out of fuel in the middle of the desert, then you might as well bury yourself in the mound of desert sand.
Fucking hell, man, I'm finished.
And for a third point, if you select the repair option here, you can only repair one part. You know how you can only repair parts on a lot of time in games like Colin McRae Rally, Richard Burns Rally, or WRC licensed games? Here, the game simplifies it to just one part at a time, meaning that there is no splitting of the resources like the way you can with the on-the-road repairs. It may seem unfair, and I will say it is unfair on the fuel and food part, because you must be clinically insane to not double up your fuel and food supply on a real rally pit stop. But outside of that, everything makes sense to me. There's no support team that will quietly follow and travel alongside you in this competition. There's only you, your co-driver, and more than 10,000 kilometers ahead. The real Dakar spirit. Now comes the big element that determines your success or failure: the RNG events. An event can come at any time, and you have to be prepared for its consequences. Sometimes it's an automatic hit to your victory chances, like a mid-race engine malfunction, climate change, or a literal logjam. Other times, you have the option to determine your fate. For example, the shortcut event functions as the name implies. You can just stay on course, or you can be brave and try to take a little cut. However, some of these options have the chance to fail, and in my case, I failed the shortcut event a lot. One event in particular tells you to avoid stray animals that wander your path, and well, there's the option to anger PETA if you feel like you're a sicko and want to commit animal cruelty. Also, there's this bandit event that I keep seeing in the driver selection screen, but so far I've never actually gotten that effect just yet. Maybe it's only become an option the further down you go, which in fairness is pretty accurate to the actual bandit situation that eventually caused the Dakar to permanently move away from its iconic Europe to Africa route. Overall, the gameplay already feels very solid and addicting, but it's not perfect. For one, the environment is lacking in variety. I understand that it's the demo and the art direction is stylish already, but you'll be greeted by this forest look all the time, and it's devoid of minor varieties that makes the road just that a little bit more colorful. Like with the roads in classic Outrun, for example. The environment does change the moment you hit Marrakesh, and I see that there's another environment that will come later in the game. But since the demo stops there, you can't enjoy it for that long before the game boots you back to the main menu. Now, I will say that as someone with experience in game development, generating environments like this is not easy at all. In fact, it's quite complex given its random nature. But if possible, I would like to see more scenery options so that we don't have to see the same piece of road all the time. The game does try to spice things up by introducing these nodes when you reach certain cities. That part is very nice, but it's also a little bit lacking in variety. You see, the problem is that while there are variations as to what node you'll be getting when reaching a certain town, the chances of getting it seems to be quite low. For example, I only got this second Brussels node about 1.5 hours into the game. It might be nitpicky, I know, but I find it a bit troublesome because Brussels is where you start every single run. So for Drake, again, if possible, I would like it if you can add more variety or increase the chances of getting a different node. It'll be fantastic if we can learn more about the areas we visited as we continue to play the game. Speaking of variety, the driver face icons that are randomly generated seems to be restricted to a pool of around 10 sprites. I didn't count exactly how many, but I kept getting the same icon all the time. Like the Ayrton Senna one for instance. Again, if possible, I would like to see more variety of this so that we don't have to see the same faces all the time. Also, this is more of a demo problem, but the demo doesn't have that much variety in the soundtrack for the races. The Brussels to Marrakesh stretch featured just one soundtrack, and while there is a second soundtrack that is played once we reach the Moroccan capital, sadly we didn't get to listen to it for long unless you purposefully stop your progress. That being said, I'm sure that this will be less of a problem once the full game is released, since you'll get to hear different soundtracks on different parts of the map. If there's one additional feedback that I can give to Fire Drake, is that I hope that we can have more vehicle types to use in the future. The SUV option is cool, but it will get old quickly if we only have it as our vehicle of choice. Dakar is well known for its variety of vehicles, and while SUVs make up the majority of four-wheel racers, there's also vehicles like the pickup trucks, the buggies, and the side-by-side SSV racers that we can use. Because they have different cargo size specifications and speed to the SUVs, these machine types will present the player with new challenges to tackle, therefore keeping the game fresh for the long run. Bikes and trucks, iconic staples of the Dakar, should also be considered as its legendary non-SUV winners like the Porsche 959 and the Peugeot 205 T16. Hell, why not add famous oddballs like the Rolls-Royce Corniche and Citroen 2CV to the mates as well? That'll be fun for sure.
A fucking 2CV.
Lastly, there's one major bug that I wanted to mention. If you quickly start a new run shortly after you completed your previous one, there's a chance that the game would get stuck in a loop between the driver select and loadout screens.
Huh? 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 Huh?
What is going on here?
It happened to me twice in my recording sessions, and while it doesn't occur all the time, safe to say that this is a major glitch that Firedrake needs to fix ASAP. That is all that I have to review for Desert Road Adventure for the time being. If you want to live the experience of becoming an independent Dakar Rally team in its glory days, this is definitely the game for you. The full game is going to be released on 18 November 2025, and it's available for both Steam and Nintendo Switch, so be sure to check it out if you're interested. If you reached this point in the video, I would like to say thank you all for watching. I hope that this video will open your eyes to the hidden gems of the indie developers that deserve more love from the gaming community. As always, I hope you all have a great day.